Welcome back to Garden Talk, brought to you by the Penn State Erie County Extension Master Gardeners. I'm your co-host for today, Mike Bailey, and our regular co-host, Ellen, is not with us because we have a guest with us this morning. Brianna Adams of the Erie County Health Department is here to talk to us about ticks. And I'm going to let Brianna tell you about her role at the health department, and then we'll jump right into the ticks. Okay? Brianna.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. As Mike said, my name is Brianna Adams, and I'm the Director of Environmental Health Services at Erie County Department of Health. In the Environmental Division, we do a lot of regulatory work for schools, pools, restaurants, septic systems, even our beaches. But I'm here today to talk as the coordinator of the mosquito control program for Erie County, which also covers ticks.
Now, Brianna, when we talk about ticks, okay, most of us think about ticks at Presque Isle or out in the country when we're going on a hike, etc. Not many of us think about ticks in our yard, in our gardens, because here we're primarily addressing a group of gardeners. Is there a possibility of finding ticks in your yard and your garden?
There is definitely a possibility of finding ticks anywhere these days. They used to really seem like we would find them, only in parks or only on Presque Isle, but that's something that we really have been working to get the word out about, that ticks can be anywhere. They stay in the leaf litter. Um, so as you're cleaning up your garden in the spring or in the fall, those are definitely places that ticks could be living.
Okay, very good. And why are ticks a problem for humans? Do they carry a disease?
Ticks do carry disease. In our area, the most common tick that we're finding is the black-legged or the deer tick, and they are a vector of Lyme disease, which affects um, a lot of people each year in our community and throughout the nation.
Okay, you said a black-legged tick.
Right. Most of us northwestern Pennsylvania people call them the deer ticks.
Oh, okay, fine, very good. I didn't know whether that was new to a particular area because I typically you're right, we hear about the deer ticks. Okay, so symptoms of Lyme disease, what would they be? As long as you're talking about the disease.
Sure. So Lyme disease is spread by the deer tick or the black-legged tick, and early symptoms are often a rash that's found in about 80% of people and can take the form of a bullseye shape. Also, feeling fatigued, headache, achy joints, really just kind of out of sorts. And we see a lot of those cases happen in the summer when the nymphal ticks are active because they're so small. They're the size of a poppy seed. Um, and
Okay.
so they can very easily spread disease being that size and go undetected. So if you're starting to feel, flu-like symptoms, achy joints in the middle of the summer, um, you just want to be cognizant that that could be caused by a tick bite.
And obviously, if you're feeling like that and it might be a tick, you really should seek some medical assistance. Is that correct?
Absolutely. If you know that you've been bit by a tick, and if you know that it's been attached for a day or so, consulting your doctor is always the way to go. Sometimes they will prescribe an antibiotic for a couple of days, or if you um, continue to feel poorly or develop some later onset Lyme disease symptoms like Bell's palsy or swollen joints, the course of treatment would be antibiotics at that time as well, but just a longer course. So medical treatment is always necessary for those cases.
Okay, so is there any particular part of the body that you're more than likely to get bit by a tick?
That's a great question. So ticks like it dark and warm. So the deer tick will overwinter in like leaf litter, and so when we think about dark and warm places on our body, we know that ticks do not fly. They don't jump, and so they're always starting out by crawling up. But then they often go for those kind of soft spaces, like behind the knees, around the belt line. Um, around the scalp, like the back where your hair meets your head, or your armpits, or your elbows. So just kind of those darker or warmer spots that the ticks would really like on your body.
So it sounds like after maybe you've been out in the yard and gardening or whatever, it might be a prudent thing, or at least when you're taking a shower, to take a look to see whether you got any ticks attached to you. Correct?
Absolutely. So that's the best way. One of the best ways to protect yourself is quick removal of any ticks, or showering right when you come indoors so that you can wash them off if they're crawling. Then you can see your whole body if you see any ticks attached to you. And you can throw your clothes right in the dryer just for a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes on high heat, and that would kill any ticks that would be maybe remaining on your clothes that hadn't gotten to you yet.
Okay, fine, very good. Now, if you find a tick and it's attached, what do you do?
You want to remove it, and you want to remove it just using tweezers. That is the only tool that you need. Fine tip tweezers, you take them as close to the skin as you can, parallel, and then just pull it out kind of firmly so that you can remove the tick in a whole piece. You don't want to put like Vaseline on it or dish soap or light a match near it, because that could just agitate the tick, where then it might kind of regurgitate and spread that disease to you if it becomes agitated.
Okay, so, but you probably need to look at your children also, correct? I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
kids are much lower to the ground, and
You're right.
and
That's
they
what I'm
like to
thinking.
roll around. So.
Yes, you're right. And you have a young daughter, okay? So you're going to have to be start to be vigilant about that when she starts to get outside and get around a little bit. What about your pets?
Absolutely.
What about your pets? Any ticks
Yeah,
on
so
pets?
pets too. Absolutely. We get ticks submitted that are on dogs all the time. They do make topical flea or tick repellents for dogs. Just that liquid that you can put on them, or they also have an oral treatment where if a tick would bite them, then it would get the treatment through their blood and would pass away at that time.
Okay, very good. Now, I'm going to go out in the garden. Is there any particular precautions I can take? Is there some kind of a salve or spray or something like that I can put on my, on my clothing or on my skin, or should I dress it in a particular manner?
Sure. Yeah. So light colored clothing, long sleeves and pants are more protective, but I understand with temperatures like we've had this year that we don't want to wear those when we're gardening. Repellents using DEET for your skin, um, as well as a product called permethrin is really helpful for clothing items that you might be wearing all the time when you're out gardening. So if you have, a specific pair of yard shoes, garden gloves, items like that, you could treat them with this permethrin product, and then it would last through several washes and kind of throughout the season to really repel ticks. I had read one study from, I think, park workers or linemen, where just by spraying their socks and their boots, the um, tick bites were reduced by 70%.
Oh, that's wonderful.
On
And as far as, we only got about a minute left. So is there anything that they
Sure.
can do to their yard and garden area or whatever to keep the potential for ticks in the area down as low as possible?
Sure. So you want to, really try to keep that leaf litter away. If you have brush or wooded areas at the edge of your lawn, you can create a barrier by using wood chips or gravel, so that the ticks don't really cross that as much. They, Well, I mentioned that they like dark and warm places. They also need to keep kind of damp, so they don't want the hot sun and the short grass. That's not where you're going to find those deer ticks.
Okay.
So you want to make sure your lawn keeps mowed, playground equipment, everything would be like in the middle of your yard. And sometimes you can even use a product called diatomaceous earth in the garden or the yard to help keep ticks away.
Okay, and that's something the typical gardener is familiar with. Okay, so, but
Yeah.
Brianna, it looks like we've used up our time. This has been a wonderful overview. And Nick did a wonderful job in our previous presentation. So, we really thank the health department for being involved with this programming.
We thank you for having us. Thank you.
Okay, fine. See you around then, okay?
Yes, sounds great.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.